Welcome everyone to tonight's meeting of the East Grinstead Town Council Planning Committee. It's good to be back in the room, everyone. It's nice to be here and see you all in person and not freezing in Meridian Hall. On number one is public participation. I haven't got anyone that actually wants to speak tonight, but we do have on the public. We've got Councillor Gibson, who is listening in tonight as well. Number two is apologies for absence.
We've had apologies from the town mayor, also the deputy town mayor. Otherwise, everyone's present.
Okay, thank you. And as ex officio, I assume we don't need to prove their movement. Number three is to receive the minutes of the meeting held on the 2nd of August. I'd like to propose those for accuracy. Please do have a second. Any questions on those minutes at all? I think I show of hands to adopt them, please. Number five is chairman's announcements. It's quite a long announcement tonight, so please bear with me. But if you want to see the full written copy of it, then the town clerk will provide note. The Cockthorne neighbourhood plan is progressing to referendum. The district council have updated us on the site's DPD progress. 29 persons are present at the briefing to the town and parishes on the 11th of August. There are 21 action points that the inspector has noted to assist him with making his conclusions on the plan. His report is due the end of September. While the inspector can suggest modifications to the plan, he will not accept any further comments. Minor modifications are fine, but if they are major, there will have to be a 6-week consultation. The final report will then be issued. Also at the meeting, there was a brief as to the review of the district plan. The review has started and the adoption is expected in 2025. The scope is currently underway to decide whether whether this is a review of each policy, minor reviews, or a full review to keep it in line with the NPPF. It is expected that around half the policies will require a full review, those concerning housing requirements and employment requirements. The expectation is that based on the new formula, Mid Sussex will have an increase in housing delivery. The plan will cover 15 years from 2023 to 2038. Currently, the council has to deliver 1,090 homes per annum. This is expected to rise to 1,093. But this is for any additional for unmet need from neighbouring authorities. Up to 2038, the council will have to deliver at least an additional 6,000 homes. However, the unmet need from neighbours could total an additional 30,000, which Mid Sussex District Council will have to contribute to. There will be another call for sites. The draft timetable for the review is Regulation 18 sign-off will be autumn 21. Consultation will follow. Regulation 19 sign-off in summer 2022. Consultation will follow with the plan to be submitted for inspection summer 23. Obviously, there's some big numbers in there that we need to keep very careful eye on moving forward. In this committee, all the councils that it might affect.
That's equivalent to another town the size of East Grinstead, isn't it?
Yes. Yeah.
That's what they ought to build.
Thank you. Okay, item number 6 tonight is licensing applications. The committee asked making comments as deemed appropriate regarding the following to pass to Mid Sussex. Again, the same as we do with the tree, we normally have these on block to refer to the licensing officer. If you have any specific comments on any of the particular application, there's there are 3 that you can see: Cricket Club, La Farola, and the new restaurant attached to the side of La Farola. Does anybody have any specific comments or concerns on any of these that they wish to put forward at all? No. In that case, we're happy to make no comment on any of those. That's nice. Thank you. Item 7 is protected tree applications. This is the same as I just said. Are there any specific comments anyone would like to make on any of these? Councillor Ford.
On the forest place tree,
Yep.
can we maintain our previous comment?
Yep.
so that at least 8.5 meters is screening to protect the privacy of the neighborhood that the
Yeah. Echo our further comment that those previous covenants are met. Yeah. Councillor Belty?
Thank you, Chairman. I was just going to comment on the Worsted one, but it is an MSDC application. I'm also an MSDC councillor for that ward, but some residents have expressed concern that it should be taken back a little bit further than just 1 metre. So if it's all right, I will propose to take up the difference. I don't know who actually deals with whether the documents are spelled, but I will take up their concerns with the tree officer. Thank you.
I have acted because there's an error that I've made, and I skipped over item 4.
I was wondering if you were writing for it.
I can call it declaration of interest. So Councillor Belty declaration of interest. Councillor Scott.
Just one thing on the last one, which is the oak again, same normal thing, but to thin it by 20%, that's really removing a fifth of a tree. Is that warranted? I mean, do we know if that's diseased? It doesn't say there at all. A fifth of a tree, especially of an oak, is a lot. That's my point.
Just to clarify whether any other declaration of interest for the further. So
Just to clarify, Chair,
Yes.
you're not making any comment on the first tree application there, 2747, as though applicant is easement to the town council.
it is, yes, sir. We're happy with the other comments there. That's the echo our comments on. Fairly short agenda tonight, committee. Actually, I think if this were a busier agenda, some of these may not even actually come before us. But first one we're going to do is DM 21 2029. This is 17 Linden Park Avenue. This is 1 2-story and 1 single-story side extensions and loft conversion to existing detached house. These are amended plans received on the 29th of 6th, showing reduction in size of dormer windows to the rear roof slope, and amended on the 4th of the 8th to include proposed increase in height of the roof. Additional plans and street elevations received on the 4th of the 8th show proposals in relation to adjoining properties. The reason I brought this back in last time, we made no specific comment. The reason I brought this back in is there have been some complaints from neighbours, so it's relevant to talk to. What I'll do is I'll just zoom up for you so you can see this is the existing property there. And this is the proposed new dormers to the rear and the Veluxes. There's a very small plan that I'll try and show you it in relation to its neighbours there, the grey areas of the new extensions. So, Councillor Moore, would you like to
Yes, I know before the amendments, we don't have any comments on this, but after the amendments to increase the height of the building. Now, I think this will cause impact on the overview of the perspective of the building. This looks like it's overbearing already, and plus the proposed loft conversion with 7 windows and 2 dormers. I think it will cause overlooking of the neighbors, especially at the back. And I consider the refusal of the neighbor because of this, and also the East Quincy Society. I also consider the comments, its overdevelopment and out of keeping with the neighborhood. And so I suggest refusal.
second for that, please? Does anyone have any further comments on this at all?
Yeah, no, just re-echoing what Danny said. I think there's issues, and I know this is obviously my perspective, but I don't like the design of the house. I think it's too overbearing, and the other sort of material considerations to consider are the overlooking site aspect of it, and also the fact that it's going to be a lot higher.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The height, that roof line, it's going to stick out like a yeah, well, no, it's EG3, DP26 with those material considerations as well.
Councillor Scott.
I agree with both those two objections, and I would just like to say that doing that to that property in Linton Park Avenue would make it one of a kind, and it is not in keeping with all the other houses within that area, and it would just look like an anomaly. So I could not support it on that basis. It's far too much, far too big.
Yeah, I think in terms of scale of extension, we seem bigger, but that is a lot of windows. And a vastly increased roof height with a lot of windows.
It looks like a block of flats.
I think I personally feel I would agree with both of the comments that the design of this is poor and could be done better. I think extending that house into that to the left of it,
Yeah.
I don't think it's a massive problem. I like the fact they've set it back slightly. I think taking the roof up and putting that amount of windows front and back is a lot, especially at the front of the property.
I know it's not a planning thing, but they're going to have fun if it did get pushy. They're going to have fun being challenged by the building control on that, because there's a thermal consideration they have to make, and having that many windows, they'd have to chuck so much insulation into the roof and stuff. It would be frightening.
Yeah, I think maybe if they chopped the fence and came back with better design on that house. Okay, can we have a show of hands to refuse on those grounds? Thank you. Next one is into town. DM 2769 Tower car sales, Tower Close. This is a strange one. We normally see this quite frequently for.
Is that a declaration you want to make? Councillor?
No, I'm just saying, I want to say something.
Oh, that's all right.
Once we get to that point, once we get to that point, we'll to let
Sharon
I
wasn't
don't
looking up, and
I
saw
don't
your
watch
hand
bloody
go
cars
up.
for a living.
once Councillor Scott had a chance to introduce it properly, then we'll come on to the
Yeah, of
discussion.
course. Yeah, just early warning, that's all.
So this is, thank you for the advanced warning, Councillor. So this is strange. Normally we see flats from be built on here, but this is not. This is a retrospective application for the temporary change of use from unused car site, used as a hand car wash facility. The plans don't really help us much in this. If I'm honest, with the coloured lines from the existing building. Nothing really changes to the overall layout between the plans, apart from the fact they're now washing cars on it. This is retrospective as complaints were made by the neighbours and investigation was set out because there wasn't any planning for it. So Councillor Scott, as town, would like to introduce this.
Yeah, in my opinion, car washes are a useful commodity, and I would support them all day. Except in this particular instance, there's been a lot of objections reference to noise and the lack of facility, i.e. for the waste and water resources. So based upon that, I cannot support this particular application.
Okay, thank you. Can I have a second for that, please? Any further comment on this?
I think kind of a long.
Councillor Osborne, he was in there early, wasn't
You
he?
were.
Oh, was, yeah. Well, I think this is a nonsense, this application, because it was if you look, it's a change from a car sales place, but it obviously used to wash the damn cars, and to a place where it washes your cars. It's crazy. I think this is another typical example of the district council taking a nice little bunch of money off a couple of people who wash cars. I don't see the reason why they need to apply for a planning application, to be honest with you, because it's hardly changed from what you say it was doing before.
I can clarify that for you if you want.
Well, it needs to be good.
When you go to a commercial car washing facility, there are the major consideration, which isn't covered in this application at all or even mentioned in this application, is the removal of surface water. So the high numbers when they're washing cars constantly all day of the chemical infused water from the cars and the spray needs to be segregated and can't be put down the main sewer. And therefore they need to have planning in place to segregate that water. The car sales should have, if they are going to wash the cars, should have that in place. It looked like it wasn't, so they weren't washing the cars particularly there maybe, and they get them washed and then brought on site. So the big thing for this application is the removal of the contaminated water, for an environmental issue, and the noise and operating of the site, because they have the Karsh jet washers going from early doors to late. There's nothing in this particular application either that sets out their operating times, so they effectively can do it from when they're doing it. Some people very late. There's lots of flats around there in the old the old gasworks, which is called Tower Flats, isn't it? Yeah.
Can I answer those particular points, or just clarify that? Because if, as you say, they were doing it before and they didn't have permission to do it before, that would be an established use by now. So they wouldn't need permission. And I would have thought, rather than planning permission, that was a building control aspect of it.
It would come under,
you know,
still
no,
come
it's
through. It would still come through planning because they need to put in the proper tanks and distribution. And the previous case, they were doing it legally or not, really is the fact that this application going forward. Councillor Lynch.
So I know from experience, the car wash down at the A22, one of the considerations they had to take in when with Tangent was to actually put in a recycling plant for green purposes as well. And I think that should be something, you know, going on the sort of green line and saving water and stuff like that. I think we should maybe try and put a note into that saying we would, you know, like to see that kind of facility put in.
It's only temporary. It's only temporary.
I guess it's only temporary, I suppose.
I think the fact that it's temporary, is obviously they also something to develop the site in the future. It's kind of irrelevant to the issue of if there is contaminated, polluted water.
Yeah.
We don't want that going into the sewers, or as we've had in other planning applications for car washes, where it was flooding down onto the highway. So the water needs to, although it sounds really boring and not very interesting, I know, but it is quite a serious issue that it's contaminated water. We have no idea what the chemicals that they're putting on the cars, the polishes, the waxes, the blacking for the tyres, everything they put on gets washed off and comes off. And really that does, we do need to make sure that is handled properly. I'm disappointed in this application that there is no mention of that at all in any of their, they're quite flippant in their non-access statements actually.
These
So,
people wouldn't know the sort of people who do that job if it's just a couple of blokes doing it. They wouldn't know about things like that.
that's right.
Thanks, John. No, I think the word temporary is irrelevant really. And also I think if they're going to do that, they've got to play by the same rules that all of the other business owners that have got car washes, they've got to play by the same rules. So,
I think we can, if this application came before us again, we had operating times. The same as Waitrose did with their lorry deliveries that we have to see. They have operating times, noise level statements, and statement about the foul water weekly application, but none of that information is in this application. Councillor Johnson.
Thanks, Chairman. I have said, I've actually been in that car park a number of times recently, just looking at the wider environment. Noise has never been an issue as far as I'm concerned regarding that. And I think it's unfortunate that Councillor Scott picked noise as the first item he said, because I feel, I understand that most of us don't have change or changes of use, but I'd be very surprised if that was a sufficient grounds for rejecting. I've seen people, and it's mostly sort of facing the car park and to the side and not with the front. And I was flabbergasted that noise was highlighted. I do take the point about the contaminated water, and personally, I was prepared to look favourably on the application, but I would like to bear in mind what you're saying. I would like to see further information on the water contamination. If they were able to do that, then personally I'd be favourable towards the application. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We can focus on between noise stuff. I've had contact me had to send sound recordings from their flat, and especially when it's been sunny and the window open, it's just driving with this constant buzz of the car washes. And you can hear it on the recording.
Could I ask a question? Because there was well, it wasn't temporary, but it kind of got moved when their land was sold. But there was the one on Imberhorn Lane, and I don't know what if they had to fulfil these kind of requirements, because that could be taken. That could be taken as a kind of a precedent been set.
Asked all those questions at that time.
Yeah,
And-
for my
and-
time, just curious.
Yeah.
And Texaco garage too, is still there.
Yeah, and they've got the properties in place. But the same with the one on Railway Approach, where we had problems with water, that if you remember coming down onto the highway, flooding down onto the taxi rank, they had to sort out their drainage because it was causing problems. So it's not unheard of for these questions to be asked.
But I just say that noise that can be dealt with through timing conditions.
Timing conditions, I think most
As
of
you
the
just said,
findings.
because I think we can't just ban everybody from being able to create some noise at some point.
As I said, what I'd like to see was an operating times. So on Sundays, it doesn't start till 9 o'clock or something, not that they're just at 7 in the morning, they're starting the jet washers up. And the hoovers and things. So it's not it's industrial, it's a semi-industrial site that does produce noise and pollutants, it should be handled as stuff. You shouldn't better set up and do it without any regulation. So I say, I don't mind there being a car wash there, but with the proper fits in.
Yeah.
Is the vote likely to, well, I don't know if you've got a proposal, but is it in favour, subject to get doing this, or is it against it because it hasn't got it?
I think the only way we can probably handle it is against, because we haven't got the information.
Okay.
And if they bring it back again, then we
Lack of information, is that what you're saying?
You can put a comment on the bottom, Chairman, to say that if these conditions are satisfactorily achieved, then the commission will be supported.
Yeah.
Put something like that.
That's basically what it's at, yeah. If we're happy with that, then we can.
Yes.
Yeah. But we show of hands in support of that. And if the car wash would be so controversial.
Shame it's another retrospective as well. That's the frustrating thing.
It'd be on about a month, presumably, something like
More than that.
Okay, so DM 2842, this is 82 Garden Wood Road. It's a single story front extension. Again, any reason I've brought this forward is because it is a front extension. This is quite easy to see the before there. And switch over to the new porch. In front of the property. Before and after. There. This is Imberhorn, so Councillor Austin,
Any objections or any
no objections.
work from anyone?
No.
Doesn't look out of the ordinary to me, so I'll recommend approval.
I'm second for that. I'm happy to. Any other comments on that? If not, show of hands in support. Okay, so DM 212898, this is 15 Bluebell Close. This is proposed first floor side extension and internal alterations. So. There we go. And there is the bigger map than those maps. Or separate maps. So this shows the infill there it's going to be. Here is the existing. See. Here's the new proposed extension. So this again is Imberhorn, so Councillor Austin.
Can you home in on the plan again to see how this affects the neighbour? Just point it out to me.
Shaded bit.
The shaded bit.
Right.
Use your laser pointer, Fraser.
Yeah, I need my laser pointer.
I will endeavouring to get it back to you.
It's this bit here, that's a
And
fine.
you've got, what's the other little box there, is that?
Yeah,
That's
It's
existing.
existing garage, isn't it?
Eh?
That's the existing part.
That's
of
the
the building.
existing. So it's literally, if you see here, that's the existing, and this is the new bit over the top.
Yeah. It looks rather big to me.
So it's this bit here. So this bit here. The garage is already there. So we're going up and off the side.
So the long length you've got there at the bottom left, that long side as a side view of it, is it?
Yeah, that's already there. That's
Is it?
existing. It is literally, you see this bit of space here,
Yeah.
it's that bit filled in.
Right.
It's basically, this bit still stays,
double length garage.
I don't know, I want to hear what other people would say.
Okay, so I pick it up from?
Yeah.
I think it'd be good to know why it was brought here.
I brought it forward. I brought it forward because it was it was getting closer to a neighbour. It's not one of the bigger extensions on the list. Really honest, if it had been a longer agenda, probably wouldn't have brought it forward.
How close is it to the neighbour? If you look at the shaded area we saw, that looks like it was pretty close to the neighbour's property.
It's already there.
So it doesn't
The ground
actually,
floor's already
the
there.
ground floor's already there. So this boundary line
Footprint's
here,
there already.
Yeah.
yeah, he's already there, the footprint is not
I would
increased,
do it.
it's just sitting on top of the
Yeah.
existing footprint.
Yeah.
Remember, Hall,
There's
from
no
my
windows on that side,
perspective,
are there?
there's no objection, there's no window on the side, I would be in support of it.
Same footprint.
Yeah.
Second,
I don't see a major problem with it.
It's just squaring it off really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So ultimately, that bit goes this back garden, this front garden, it's like it's into. It sort of almost comes to a pinch point, doesn't it? If I'm reading the plan, right?
So you are.
So I recommend approval. I think it's close to being a bit closer on the top there, but I think it's causing a mass building footprint is increasing.
There's no windows, presumably.
No, windows.
Okay.
That's support that.
I'll recommend. Could I have a second on that, please? Yeah.
I'll second.
Councillor Dooley, thank you. Any other comments on that? So
No.
no. I'll show of hands in support. So let's go to the last one for tonight. I can get this back out. Not dissimilar one, actually. This is the Ashbats, 55 Elizabeth Crescent, which is demolition of garage and proposed two-storey side extension. So this is the current property there. Yeah. Very small map. Proposed extension in bright pink.
Which one is that you're looking at, sorry?
Elizabeth Crescent.
No, it's
29,
22, 29, 22.
Second one.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah, yes. Oh, yeah.
So this is Ashbats. So Councillor Raw, please.
Yeah. For me, there's plenty of space within the property. It's not over the building, it's not, you know, and looks fine for me. Why would support be over?
Yeah, another second for that, please. Councillor Scott.
I'll support this. It looks like no different to the last one we saw. Now they're squaring the top off, with the difference on this one is they've removed the bottom part, which was the garage. So the footprint's more or less staying the same. And I'll support that too.
Yeah, no, thank you. I think also I appreciate the lower ridge line. They've gone up to the existing ridge. It's been quite big, but I think keeping that step down is probably.
I mean, I'd say, yeah.
Okay, can I have a show of hands and support it? Thank you, Commissioner. That's everything. Thank you to Gibson for listening in tonight. And I'll close the meeting at 7:30. Thank you.